Today we're hopping on the call with Niels. He's the CMO over at Perspective, a funnel building tool that serves over 7,000 customers and does more than 10 million in ARR. Niels has been doing things that would have been impossible a few years ago, like building funnels that have driven hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue using almost entirely AI. No expensive designers or copywriters, just AI doing the heavy lifting. But even with AI, here's what most people get wrong about sales funnels. They think you need a massive budget to test them. He's going against all of that.
A question that I usually get is, ads are so daunting. Do I have to spend thousands on that? No, you can just put a 5 here and just run it for 7 days, see what comes back.
So in this video, Niels is going to build a complete B2B sales funnel for 9X, our AI training company, from scratch live. We're talking strategy, copy, design, integrations, ad copy, the whole thing. And he's using AI for everything. Claude will write the copy, AI will help us generate the creatives, and Perspective will generate the entire funnel structure, handle all the integrations, and even dynamically personalize the experience for each visitor. Not only that, but every step of the way, Niels is showing us his absolute best tips for getting the most out of AI.
And so what we do, and what I would really recommend everybody else should do as well, is we have a custom Claude project that is trained on all of our best performing ads.
And if that wasn't enough, he'll also show you the exact process that took one of his agency customers from 50K to 100K per month in less than 30 days.
One of our agency customers actually used this to book more than 60 qualified appointments within 7 days, and it was actually responsible for doubling his ad agency from 50 to 100 grand a month in less than a month. So
you're going to see the exact process for using AI to build a complete sales funnel from strategy to launch. No fluff, just the build. So here's Niels. This is building a $1 million sales funnel live using AI. All right. Hey, Niels, how's it going?
Very good. Good to be on, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. What have you got in store for us today? Maybe you can give a quick introduction to yourself, but also what are we doing today?
100%. So today's video is going to be about us trying to build a $1 million sales funnel for 9X. That is what the title likely will turn out to be. We're going to use a lot of AI in the process, and we'll run through everything from the ideation of the funnel to actually building it in Perspective to then setting up the ads and all of that good stuff. That is likely what we're going to cover today. A little bit about myself. My name is Niels. I'm CMO at Perspective. Perspective is a funnel builder, funnel platform SaaS, right, to help you build highly converting funnels in under an hour. We serve more than 7,000 customers across the globe, more than 10 million bucks in ARR. So we know a thing or two about funnels. Also spend a lot of money on ads and driving traffic to funnels. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting one.
Awesome. And I guess the goal then for this video a little bit, if there's someone that's a complete beginner, can literally just watch along. And we're going to go into the nitty gritty, right? We're going to go into the details.
100%.
And that's
super actionable.
Exactly. All right, then
sweet.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let me spin up the screen share really quickly. So I've already created a little workspace for you in Perspective, the 9X workspace.
Nice.
And before we do any building, of course, there's a little bit of discovery that we need to do, because one of the most important ingredients to a successful funnel is the offer, right? And I know a little bit about you guys already, but I maybe want to ask you a couple of questions to also maybe gauge what direction you would like to lean into. And one thing that I found out about you guys is that you have this offer right here, which is more of a high ticket offer, right? So you're basically selling coaching and live trainings and all of that combined for businesses that want to implement AI into their processes, into their businesses in different departments. And that is your highest ticket B2B offer, if I'm correct with that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And even here we have a few different offers, I guess, because what we've created is basically an online training course that's really designed to take a business professional all the way and transform them into an AI builder. And awesome. we have also some prices here that companies can just go and buy our course and basically give their teams access to this. But the real transformation and our main offering where we're actually making big transformation with companies is our AI First program, which is a combination of, it's like over 3 phases. So there's that initial phase of everyone in the company gets a basic understanding of AI literacy. And by that we mean knows how to prompt, knows how to use tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude to become more productive themselves. And then we move on to the second phase, which is for, I guess, a select few of that company. Typically, it's not for everyone, but those who are really going to become these AI builders. And that's they basically learn the fundamentals of AI and automation over 8 to 10 weeks with a combination of our online course and live sessions. But what really makes the difference in that AI First program is that then the phase 3 is the real hands-on part where we join them live for a 1-week hackathon and we actually build their first use cases. It's not just learning, but actually building, because there's one thing of moving away from just learning the topic in theory and then actually applying it. I guess you know that better than anyone, is a massive difference.
Yeah, totally. Amazing overview, man. And so my main question to you already would be, can you define a little bit more closely who exactly you would like to sell to primarily? Like, do you have a very, very core ICP also in terms of what use case they're looking for? Because I can see here we have marketing as one use case, right? To help with the marketing ops, sales, customer success, like many different ways you could go. Do you have a favorite or a very clear ICP that is most valuable to you guys?
Yeah. So I think you'll probably need to be the one to tell me if we've done a good job at making it very, very, very clear or not. This is not our level of expertise, but for us, we would say it's typically in terms of companies, most likely it's a software company, which is like tech-enabled businesses, we would classify them as. And with regards to company size, at least 100 employees, so we'd say 100 to 1,500 employees, and where that number comes in is a company of that size already has a bit of momentum and processes that are working and people sort of used to the old way of things running. And it's not just so quick that you can just like drop everything and let's implement AI, right? Whereas a team of 10 can probably be a bit more agile and nimble. And these larger companies need a little bit of help with it. And where you mentioned there the different departments, why we're not honing in on the department, because typically our decision maker or the people that we're talking to are either the CEO or the CTO. They're the ones coming and saying, we need this AI transformation. We know this is going to disrupt everything and our people should be using AI more. And that's where it's really a whole company approach, because in these programs, what we find best is actually bringing 2 people in from marketing, 2 people in from sales, from customer care, from HR, from finance, because they're the ones that know the process. And once you get a few people in each department automating, it's like a viral thing that spreads out. So that's why we're not just like, hey, automate your marketing or teach your marketers how to become AI builders. It's really this company transformation.
Yeah, that is super interesting that you say that, because my mind immediately goes to this concept that you have in B2B SaaS, which is like land and expand, right? Because one core concept for paid ads as well as funnels is the more specifically you can name like use cases and or pain points and desires, the more it will also resonate. So that is why I'm pushing a little bit for this. If you had to start
we do that a
somewhere,
little bit probably in our lead magnets. If that, I don't know if that makes sense. Like we run a lot of live, so on our YouTube channel, and also we run live webinars every week. And there we would go function specific. And typically then what we've seen is, let's say if we see 3 or 4 marketers from one company start attending a few of our live workshops, start doing a few of our tutorials that we have on our website, then it's maybe worth also getting in touch with the C-level. So there is that land and expand motion, but definitely open for it.
Super interesting. Amazing, man. That is already lots of info. I already have taken some notes here. Can you maybe double down or double click a little bit on the pain points that these people have? Is there anything specifically that you can call out that is like a reoccurring theme across the customer base?
I think overall is this like no clear roadmap of what's happening. So a lot of companies is like, okay, let's go give everyone access, but access doesn't necessarily mean adoption. So the teams, you give them tools, but then they're not really using them productively. And I think companies really don't know. They know that AI is valuable, but don't really know how to drive that change systematically or with like a standard process. So I'd say that would be the biggest one. And then you've got 2 knowledge gaps that we see. So first of all, the AI knowledge gap, that you already have different people using AI. Some are using it like for everything and they just have ChatGPT open up like 24/7. And others still, like it's a bit surprising to like for people that use it so much, but there's still people that are not using it on a regular basis. So there's that vast difference in terms of their team members are in such different positions. So it's very hard to do this like universal upskilling. And then there's this same expertise gap that exists on the automation side as well. So outside of the tech team, no one really knows how to automate in a professional way.
Now, that was the discovery phase of all of this. And I was just very eagerly taking notes here, because what we can do now, we can come into perspective and first of all, just define what is the goal that we're trying to achieve. So in this case, clear B2B offer. You're not going to usually sell a 25 grand a year offer just through self-serve. So somebody clicking on an ad, seeing that offer and then just hitting purchase for 25 grand. That is usually done via a sales call. So that is also what we would be aiming for here. So we'll be starting with an appointment funnel. And we could also do that by just clicking on a new template. You can see in perspective, there's many different ones, but we'll just start with the appointment one since that is really what we're trying to achieve here. Now, there's this little cool feature that we call an AI brand profile, which is really helpful for generating any assets in perspective. And for you, we would just create a new one. Now we'll just come over here, take the exact landing page that we just discussed, and I'll take the notes that I just made while you were talking, and I'll put that in here with a little bit of info around what their pain points are, around what companies you're looking to target, and I click generate profile. Now what Perspective will do, it will scrape the page and it will just collect as much information as possible. So we have a lot of context on exactly what is the type of offer that we should build, what is the company to target, right? What are your customers, can already pull in some social proof. So lots of helpful stuff to already generate the funnel content. So then we can also go ahead and just check that out, double check that. But in this case, we'll just hit save profile. Now we have here our 9X tech companies, 100 plus employees. Beautiful. Cool. So we click personalize this template. Now what is going to happen in the background, we will use this brand profile now to generate the funnel content. And this will take a little bit of time. So what I would really suggest in the meantime that we could do is we could already start thinking about or drafting our ads roughly, right? So for many people, especially when also starting with a funnel and building their first funnel, they might be super excited about that. But then they're thinking, I don't actually know how to run an ad or what the ad should look like. Should I do video, carousel, static, social proof, all of that? And my clear suggestion usually is, at first, just start with a simple image ad, right? Make it as simple as possible. Video always takes some time. There's a little bit of production needs. You need to script something, you need to record it. It's like just heavier on the operations. And now, Jan, please don't judge me on the design side of things here. Like I just spun this up 3 minutes before the call.
The colors are already on point. So that's already
that was all I was aiming for.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so what I would really suggest for anybody just starting, especially when testing your funnel, don't invest too much into ads. What you would really want to do at first is just test a little bit the messaging, see what resonates with people, see what people click. And so 3 main elements that I would suggest all of the ad creatives should always have, especially in a B2B context, is first of all, the ICP call out. Since on Meta, we'll use Meta ads later to drive some traffic to that funnel. That is really a majority of the targeting. So Meta will also analyze your creative using machine learning and AI, and they will then estimate what type of people will most likely resonate with that. There's other things like the audience settings, but this is already a big part of the targeting. So in this case, I would say, let's just fill in the blanks. We just call this, tech-enabled or tech companies maybe for the simplicity. Companies with 100 plus employees. And I would really go ahead and call it out as specifically, because as I said, Meta is really, really good at giving you what you're asking for.
Yeah.
So better be very specific, right? So I would always call that out, especially also in the first static ads that you're producing.
And is that specifically something for B2B, Niels? Because obviously Meta is mainly this B2C platform and there's a lot of noise and there's no point 23-year-old in university seeing this ad, right?
Yeah. Well, it's that's interesting with Meta. It definitely has the biggest spread, but it also has the biggest audience. Now we're a B2B company, and our biggest channel is Meta. Another one you could use is LinkedIn ads. Problem with LinkedIn ads is they're way more expensive, and they also are so engagement is a lot less on the platform.
Yeah.
So I usually say start with Meta. There will be a couple of unqualified leads coming through, but we have a bunch of tricks in perspective to mitigate that. But yeah, so this is although Meta is very, very much used in a B2C context, you can get amazing results for B2B as well. And many people don't think that's actually possible. So we're going to prove them wrong, hopefully.
Nice.
Exactly. Now we can come back to the funnel and see if we already have a result here. Now it's still taking a second. Oh, there you go. Okay, it's actually ready. So we have a first draft of the headline. So transform your team into AI-powered automation experts, or we train them for free. Now you see that is already like a little bit direct, right? So we train them for free. That is, you need to really make sure with your business and with your business partners that is a guarantee you can make.
Have you trained your models on Hormozy by any chance, or it's very very Alex Hormozy if I must say.
Yeah, well, I think it's more the direct response type of marketing approach, and Hormozy does take a couple pages out of that book, definitely. So. Yeah, so how we treat these templates is that generally speaking, we look at what performs best, and we regularly build new templates and like load all of that data for the brand profiles to make sure that, or put that into the prompts and into the engineering behind these templates to make sure that you're getting copy that we know will roughly work.
Yeah, it's definitely strong. I can
Exactly.
Yeah.
So good place to start, right? So good place to start. We can scroll down a little bit here. So you see all of that already has been adjusted. Now this is a benefits section. So you can roughly already see what that would look like for your business. Now we have, okay, CEO of Circular. That is actually a testimonial also from your page that was pulled in, right? So
Yeah,
there was this
that's
gentleman
mad.
here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you actually have a testimonial of the CEO of Make.
Yeah, we do.
You do? Beautiful. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's not, there's
And there you
no
go. So-
hallucination yet. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So we see this already helps you take over all of the content, right? And just have a good place to start with. You can also double check what the questions look like now. So what's your primary goal for implementing AI and no-code solutions in your organization? Price range, position. So that will be important for qualifying the lead later, right? Budget definitely as well. So what we would want to add in this case likely is the company size, right? Because that was the primary reason for qualification or disqualification. So we could come in here, just quickly hit duplicate that out. We would take that, call it company size.
And maybe, Niels, this is a good point to point out for anyone like brand new to the concept of funnels. You like the fact that you took our website and scraped it, but we were creating something totally separate from our website, right? And then it's intentional that this isn't something that we're building in to our website. Maybe you can say a few words on that.
100%. So what a funnel usually is the landing page or the destination for a very, very specific campaign. So that was also why, Jan, I asked you so many things about your ICP and specifically what offer is best to use here, because we really, it's like, Marco, one of our co-founders, he calls it speedboats, right? So like your website is this huge boat, essentially, like this is your main thing. But then you craft these funnels as speedboats to win customers in specific segments. That's the main idea. Exactly.
Gotcha.
Cool. So we would come in here, just add this question of how many people work in your company, and I'll get to the customization of the funnel in a bit as well. So maybe we can start out with, less than 100, just make it super simple for this one, more than 100. So this is basically our qualification, delete the other ones. Yes, we'll get rid of those. Of course, you can get a little bit more fancy to more narrowly define out and have the data be collected from your lead, but that is a good place to start already. Cool. So that is step one. Now we have a cool at bet for the first funnel. We have an offer. Now that is, of course, something that we need to define together, and that Jan maybe we want to chat through afterwards one more time. But what is the question that I always ask people is, what is the strongest offer that you can confidently make? Now, you, of course, don't want to offer anything that you can't keep, right? So make no promises that you can't keep, but you definitely want to go direct with paid ads. You want to very immediately and very directly explain what the value is going to be and take risk from the customer. That is usually the goal. Exactly. So for the purpose of this demonstration, we'll just leave this headline here for now. But as I said, we might need to consider it later.
And just to reiterate, Niels, so this is like what we're doing now, though. It is like a funnel for our main offer, the highest ticket that we sell, which typically we would like, this sort of starts in the range of 50K. Where is there an argument where actually for such a funnel we should start with a smaller ticket, or you think no, go big ticket? Because I guess with smaller tickets we can make more promises like this, right?
Yeah. No, totally makes sense. I think it really depends on the types of leads that will come through the funnel then and how you want to optimize it, right? Yeah. So, Jan, you know your business best. If you say like strategically for 2026, you want to move more into the enterprise market, get higher tickets, bigger average revenue per customer that you have, then I would also go and optimize this funnel very specifically to only optimize for these people. Yeah. But of course, you can also spin up a further funnel for lower ticket offers, right? Yeah. You mentioned webinar funnels. I immediately thought, hey, maybe we should also build a webinar funnel because that could also go for lower ticket offers, or do a VSL, right? There's many different ones you can build. Now, this one specifically, I would tailor to really your highest ticket customers to get them on a sales call.
Perfect. So that there for the next video.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. There you go. Cool. So then in the meantime, I think it's best if we just quickly go back to the ads and define a couple ads that we can run here. So I would just get rid of the paragraph for simplicity's sake. And I actually didn't continue the thought that I had originally, because there's three main elements that I will always suggest you put on an ad. Number one, ICP callout. Check, we have that. Then second of all is a result-driven headline. There's many different angles that you can use, and the concept of an angle marketing is essentially like just what perspective you use to write the copy, right? So another angle might be a pain point-driven ad. So you mentioned, hey, there's many people that really don't have a single clue around how to automate, right? Yeah. That could be a pain point. Another pain point could be you as the CEO, CTO know exactly that AI is the next big thing, but like your huge company that you have built is just super slow in adopting it. Another pain point, right? So that would be two different angles that you could go after. Another one could be a desire focus or social proof focus. So many different ways you can go with a copy. I would say keep it simple. We first start with a result-driven headline. Now, because the funnel already gave us one, I would also suggest we start with this one. So we come back to the funnel just quickly.
And with these, when you're making them also for yourself and your other customers, are you also using AI a lot in this iteration? Have you got like a custom GPT or a Claude project where because you just rattled off like 5 or 6 different formats. Have you already got something trained up for like writing good ad copy similar to what we just saw on the landing page?
100%. So what we do, and what I would really recommend everybody else should do as well, is we have a custom Claude project that is trained on all of our best performing ads. And so whenever I have an idea, right, like the idea that I just mentioned, like this pain point of, AI is the big thing, but nobody in your company actually adopts it. Like I would just take that idea, put it into that Claude project and say, please write me an entire ad about this. And it would come up with an ad that has all the elements that we know perform already. So that is really what I would recommend you do. We do that all the time for the scripting.
Perfect. And if someone has like never run this in the past, it's basically just going to the Facebook ad library, looking in your niche, pulling a bunch of ads and feeding that the same way. Yeah.
Exactly. Pull the transcripts, look at successful examples, and then just model that.
It could be a nice lead magnet for you guys. Giving people access to that Claude project would be very nice.
100%, man. 100%. Good idea, actually. We'll do so.
Awesome.
All right. Cool. So now we have at least like one ad. Now what I would really recommend for the launch that you have at least 5 ads to start with. So what we would go ahead is just like duplicate it out a bunch of times. Now there's 3, 4, and 5. And now I'd really go ahead and also go back into Claude. And in Claude, I would just take the description that we had before. Now, you could go really crazy with more context that you have. Of course, the more you will feed your AI around your product. You could also feed in the landing page one more time, right? We can create some more headlines, basically. So for now, I would just go ahead and you can also let me know if you would suggest anything different in terms of the prompt. But I have this headline for my ad creative. I would just start here, put it there. It is for my funnel targeting, and then I'll just copy and paste the notes that I had before.
Yeah.
There you go. Just pull that out. Boom. Please write 5 to 10. Maybe we start with 5. So we maybe get a better output.
Yeah.
Please write 5 further headlines with different angles I can use. So what we're looking for here, especially in that first batch, is we want to make sure that the headlines are all a little bit different. So we can also, when we see one specific ad performing well, do more of that, right?
Gotcha.
So if it's all the same thing, saying the same thing, then we don't really learn anything from the testing. So performance marketing is really a lot about testing what will work for you and your business. And so, as I said, you want to have them be a little bit different from each other, or strongly different actually, but still at the end of the day relate to your main offer, of course, right? You shouldn't. There should still be congruency between your ad and your funnel.
Super nice. And then exactly. I guess on that process that you said is like, then you have 5 completely different angles. You learn which ones work best, and then you're feeding that back in the next time and saying, these are the ads that work best. Why did they work, right? What's the format? How can I repeat it?
Correct. And then that is also like, if you let it be broken down by AI, that's also something that you can feed back into a project, a Claude project, GPT project, right? I personally would say Claude is definitely best for creative writing. You would agree?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And are you guys using one that we're really using a lot now, or starting to, is Notion AI, which actually lets you use Claude and like change between different models. And it's also super nice. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Claude all the way. And the Claude projects are like insane how good they are.
Cool. So let's see what Claude came up with. So we have a knowledge gap angle. Half your team uses AI daily. The other half barely touches it. Fix this gap in 90 days. Strong one.
That's
I
solid.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from scattered AI experiments to company-wide automation, your 12-week implementation roadmap, also not bad, right? So really what I would be looking for here is to see if we have really angles that we can compare. And the thing is also, you as the founder of your, or the first marketer and building that first funnel, you always know best what is the different things that your customers are thinking about. So I would likely go ahead and really test different topics there as well. stop the cowboy AI tools, build an enterprise-grade automation framework your CTO will approve. Now that also needs to be checked for brand voice, but there you go.
Yeah, no, but like the first one straight away, that's super strong, I'd say.
Exactly.
And what could be interesting for us as well, because this one is even just that first part of our program of like upskilling everyone to a base level. So we could even be more aggressive and say in 28 days, right? Because this here we're not touching like AI and automation yet. This is really like how to get people start using it. That's super strong. And then I guess here you want very different ones, but how granular would you go? Would you ever touch like, is 28 days better or is 4 weeks better? Is that something that you get into that level of like testing?
Usually not. Usually you want to keep the testing still quite significant. There's this concept called at variable isolation, right? So we just try to test one thing at a time, but still that thing should be significant.
Gotcha.
Like you don't want to go ahead and, just test the color and then think, okay, now we switch all creators to green all of a sudden because that, improves performance. I think that is not really the case.
Yeah.
And definitely not your best use, not the best use of your time. Exactly. So we have that. We have two creatives here already. Now we will also go ahead and craft the other ones. Now the third element that you want to have on your ads that we haven't covered yet is the proof, right? Yeah. So a bulletproof way to increase your funnels or your marketing's conversion rate in general, we've seen it over and over again, is social proof. And especially when you're starting out, maybe you don't have, super cool companies like 9x has already, but you can always just try to find different ways to showcase social proof. One would be, how many customers you're serving, as you have there as well, like 5,000 business professionals trained already, right? Then you can also go with like just one testimonial and make it more in depth, or maybe 3 testimonials if you have those, right? So if it's not the volume that you can go with, like just go in depth and in detail. So there's different ways you can do that with social proof, but we definitely always want to use proof as much as possible.
Gotcha. And here because I guess a lot like one format of social proof could be like a testimonial from one person, like you've said, but then that's also quite text heavy. How do you compare that against the headline? Or if you're using like a sentence saying like 9x transformed our whole team in 90 days, that would be the headline almost, right? That you're weaving it in, or?
100%, man, 100%. And this is also like if we have this testimony here, right? 9x has been a game changer. We're now operating at a different level. Now, I would want that to be a little bit more specific, especially in B2B. You want to focus on results, right? That is usually time saved or money made. That is usually what we go with. Or like, time saved, I think in this case is of course like, made our customer success team, 2 times faster, something like that. Absolutely. Exactly. Now we could just go with this also as another headline. If we say that would be a strong one, that would be a testimonial angle in this case that we're testing, right? So that is ad number 3. There we go. Boom. Maybe in this case, you just want to go ahead and also, of course, say who it's from. So we just pull that text out here and just copy and paste it over one more time. So that is Nikolai. Exactly. Now you can, of course, okay, there you go. Make these a little nicer in terms of design, right? For example, I really love the elements that you have here on your page with the different logos and the different tools that you use. I think that would be a no-brainer to add to those. Yeah. But now with that, we have 3 ads. We usually want to go ahead and create 5. Now, for the sake of the presentation, maybe we just stick with these. Cool. So now, getting back to the funnel, we have our first step bet. That's a great way to start. Now we really want to set up some things helpful for conversion as well as lead qualification. Now, what we want to do at first, as you can see here in perspective, the cool thing already is that everything is in mobile first canvas, right? That is something that you might notice, especially from different builders, but we always build on a mobile first canvas because I can also show some data later, but usually like 80 to 90% of visitors, especially if you run ads, come from mobile devices. So we just want to have that dialed in. Desktop also still important. If we quickly take a look at the desktop view, also looks clean, right? But the mobile first view is definitely the most important one. Cool. So let me just maybe get rid of this one. Not entirely sure if that is super helpful here. Maybe give a little bit of a different sizing so you could come in and just adjust that the way you think is best, right? Yeah. And I'll get to the different elements that we see up here as well. Now, first of all, we can also go ahead and change the design. So we could just go ahead and change, create a different theme. Now, in your case, I would just come into the ads that we just created one more time and just pull out the hex color. Yeah. And
by the way, for anyone wondering where Niels, you were creating the ads, that was in Canva, right?
That was in Canva. That's correct. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good. And I know it'll be in the comments afterwards, so let's just say it. Let's just get it out the way.
Okay.
Now.
There you go. There you go. Makes sense.
Nice.
Cool. So we can see some of the elements have been changed. We can also go ahead and change this a little bit here. Now, what you'll see in the entire editor with perspective, now you have a bunch of customization options here, but really perspective is focused on two main things, which is speed of launch or speed to launch and performance. That is really what we optimize for. You can still customize and make this beautiful. Like it just this morning built one for our Q4 campaign that's launching this week, and it's really, really pretty. Also used some HTML blocks there for some custom elements, so you can go definitely crazy. But in terms of the settings, this is really optimized for speed.
Yeah, and I think that's what's super nice about that. It really coming from the automation world and AI world. There's a lot of no-code tools that have taken that same approach of whether it's no-code website builders, here it's a funnel builder. It's you give everyone like all the options that an engineer or a developer would need to make. It's going to take them 50 times as long, or even they probably won't finish it. And so like, what is the well, like you're making some best practice decisions for us, which is just allows us to test way faster.
Exactly. That is correct. And so then we can, of course, go ahead and adjust the design in different ways. Now, we'll not focus too much on this. You can just play around and feel and look into what feels best for representing your brand. You can come in here, of course, change all the images. Like all of that is fully customizable. Now, the important piece for the funnel, we have the offer dialed in. That is amazing. We just stick with that for now. You can see here that there's this big interactive element. It's a question, essentially. Is your team currently using AI or no-code tools in their daily operations? Yes, actively using them. No, not yet, or very limited. The sole reason for why that is there is because we have found that when you make funnels interactive, and especially when users answer that first question, they usually never drop off until you hit the opt-in page, right? In the opt-in page there, again, you want to... you have a little bit of friction. You're asking for the contact details. So that is of course, where a couple of people drop off. But the goal really for this one here is that we just get them to interact with the question. So we make it a really easy yes or no question. All right? Cool. So, and from there on, we have them coming in here. Now, this is actually with the...
And here they're landing regardless of which one they click on the first page.
Exactly. This is really, you could call it a little bit like a decoy. You just want to get them to interact with the funnel and just get them into the quiz.
This is the hook of the YouTube video, basically.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Exactly. Cool. So what we want to do is now actually adjust this in a way where we pre-qualify the lead, right? Yeah. So this is the main benefit also of having these interactive questions in here. We can really make sure that we're only talking to the ones that are really qualified. And so what we would do is, for example, we could come in here and duplicate one of the result pages, because we already want to make sure that those people that are coming in that are not qualified, right, that we just immediately move them out of the process. So I would just call that unqualified. There we go. There's also a little trick that you can use that, where you can use that to optimize your meta campaigns, but I'll get to that in a second.
Gotcha.
Exactly. Now just quickly remove the list item. We have this second page, so it's an unqualified page. We have the thank you page, which would be the qualified one. Now in this case, we would just say, sorry, you're not qualified to work with us. Right? And we could lead people there directly there. So for example, the main one that you pointed out in the beginning was the company size, right? So it's less than 100, more than 100. In this case, we would want to go ahead and could already, if people click on less than 100, immediately send them over to the unqualified page, because we don't even want them booking into the calendar, right?
Gotcha.
So we call that unqualified. Now you can go a little bit more crazy with this depending on what your sales team size is, right? So there might be setters that you want that unqualified people to talk to either way, and then there might be your higher ticket closers that you want the more qualified people to talk to. Now in this case, we're not gonna, if people click on this one, we don't want to immediately send them to the thank you page, because we still need their opt-in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can see here, there's this other result page setting, and we would just click thank you, because that would ensure that after people opt in, they're actually led to the thank you page and they know that they're qualified.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
And so here, Niels, like obviously we're going to say, hey, if you're less than 100, you're not qualified to work with us. Would there be, because we have a bunch of like free resources in terms of, is there any value in like keeping brand face and say, oh, but by the way, maybe these are things you should check out for 100%. Now, or you would just say like, you're not for us, sorry, see you later?
That depends on if you have free resources available, but I would rather say go and offer something. You can also just have them opt in for your email list, for example, and leave it at that. You can get them into your community if you have a free community. Like things like that definitely make sense, 100%.
Yeah, and then like what's good is in our case we would have those lower ticket items, so I could just add them in later.
Correct.
Awesome.
Correct.
And would you ever
Yes.
send them to another? Like if, like, let's say we had a low ticket funnel also set up, is that a typical use case that when they say less than 100, we just send them to another low ticket funnel, like they would continue from that? Or is that all built within the one?
You can definitely do that. The only thing that I would say, what you need to be a little bit cautious about is the congruency, right? So
Gotcha.
if they're right now in the process of thinking they opt in for, this cool becoming AI first offer that you guys have, and then all of a sudden, let's say a $27 product on, using Claude, for example,
Gotcha.
that
Yeah,
wouldn't
makes
be
sense.
ideal.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, 100%, you can definitely do that and stack different offers on the basis of if somebody is qualified. And that is really the cool thing that you can do with Perspective. You can also build that out within a single funnel, because you can also come into one question here and basically go really crazy with the logic, right? So we could have many, many different rules concatenated here that when somebody is exactly that specific profile, we want to send them to that specific offer and have them opt in here, or have them be sent to a very different page.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So then we have that. Let me just quickly double check my notes. We definitely still want to check the integrations in a bit there as well.
Yeah.
But that is roughly the most important piece to start with. Now, one cool conversion hack that I want to show you guys as well is because I've mentioned it a bunch of times now. One of the most important pieces also for having a highly converting funnel is the congruency, right? And congruency, I mean essentially like when the ad says something, the funnel should roughly repeat it or have the same story. And we can actually go ahead and ensure that for all of the ad creatives to the T. And how that will work, and I can show you what that looks like in the ad account as well when we set up the ads. But you can also go ahead and basically just remove that headline, hit add, and then you see our personalization menu. That is already super helpful because we can also use then all the variables that we collect from our customers to display back to them to make the copy more personalized. That is also another conversion hack. But we can also add a custom variable. Now in this case, I would just call that headline and have the headline that we originally crafted be the fallback. So you can see here that has this little variable icon in here now. If I click the preview really quickly, then you can see it still has our headline here. Now what we can do, which is also super, super handy, is we can come back into Canva, and for all of the different ads that we then set up in the meta ad account, can set the specific headline so that the headline on the funnel actually perfectly matches the ad creative that was just clicked on. So a quick conversion hack that actually helps a lot with, of course, having higher conversions.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
And that's something that you like connect in Canva, or is it like a variable that you have to set, or you just mean copy paste the values?
I would just copy and paste the values, concatenate that into the link, and I can show you a template later that we then set up in the ad account.
Nice.
Exactly. Cool. But now let's assume we have our rough funnel structure built, right? What I also would recommend in terms of personalization that I've just mentioned is I would adjust this text here to basically be a very personalized offer for the type of company that is just looking to opt in here. So what we would do is, for example, great news. Of course, we want to change the color here. No, that doesn't look too good. Doesn't have the contrast. There you go. Great news. We still have a slots, and now this is just me winging the copy. Of course, you want to spend a little bit more time making that better for a company. And then we can use, for example, the different things that we have already collected for the lead. So for example, we want to reference the position, right? In that case, that might be the CTO. So we just come in here. So for a hit add, then look for the question in here. Interestingly, that is still a LinkedIn focus.
Is it the what position? Is it the first one or not best described?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Correct. And now we want to have a fallback in here. Now I'm just going to leave that as a fallback, but we of course want to have something that would ideally still make sense. But generally speaking, as long as you only send traffic to that first page, you never need the fallback because the data is collected. Exactly. So that would say now we still have a slot for a CTO, of a company with boom, hit add. And we have the, where's that? How many people work for a company? We'll put something in here for a company with X, Y, and Z employees, right? Employees. Boom. Now this would, of course, for this to work, we would need to have a little bit more clarity on the offer specifically. So what are they opting in for? But the cool part here is that basically this would say, hey, great news. We still have a slot for a CTO of a company with more than 100 employees to, come in and learn AI. So ready to have 9x improve your team's efficiency. And in this case, interestingly, it used your name to put a number on on the value proposition, which is also kind of cool. Exactly. Sweet. Then we can, of course. Do you have a question?
No, it's awesome. It's we've been talking about funnels for months, and now we're going to have one in like the shortest amount of time. It's nuts.
There you go. Amazing. One thing that is still important to note here is that, of course, like the data quality is also very, very important. And I've talked about qualification of leads a lot. One of the things that I would really recommend you do, especially if you're going higher ticket like we're doing right here, is you just go ahead and activate advanced phone validation. So what would happen now is if people opt in for this, they get a one-time password automatically sent, just a 4-digit code they need to enter, and we're good to go. Exactly.
Nice. And I think that's something that's like, it's almost like a touch of class for a high ticket B2B offer, right? It's not because some like the old marketers would say that's too much friction, like you're going to kill your conversion or that sort of thing. But I think maybe it's overkill for someone buying, like you said, a $27 product. Yes. But for a CEO or a CTO, actually, they're like, okay, these guys are legit.
100%. And I would also say, especially if you're running, traffic from Meta, you will have unqualified traffic. That is just inevitably going to happen. So I would, especially for B2B offers, like the worst thing that can happen is that an unqualified lead comes through. You have your sales team spend time on them to only then realize they're not really qualified, right? Or you never have reached them. So they do their dials if you try that. So I think especially if you go in higher tickets, optimize for quality primarily.
And one thing I noticed here, Niels, is like this is sort of working the opposite to all, like on our website, we also have a button where someone can book a call. Like all the calendar tools is you pick your slot first, then you give your information. Is there a reason you guys have flipped the script on that?
Yes, actually there is, because what we want to do is we want to have them opt in first, because we already collect their data, since the picking an appointment is, again, a little bit of added friction. Yeah. And we sometimes have people drop off, so we still want to have their contact data to dial them up and still set them on a call, if we can make that happen with a sales team.
Perfect.
Exactly.
And let's say we're only, well, maybe it's something we should be doing, but it's not something that we're really ever picking up the phone and calling CTOs or CEOs and things like that. Would you still, in that context, have, like right now we're only collecting name and email. What's the big benefit of the phone there? Or is that more in the future when we maybe have our own sales team that we're building up?
The latter, definitely. Because there's like, especially the companies that are scaling very, very aggressively with an appointment funnel like this one, or a book a call funnel like this one, you just want to have the phone number to call them up, right? That is really where the value is created. And you can, of course, use SMS, WhatsApp, and other channels as well to just reach them a little bit more effectively. So the phone number is definitely higher value than compared to the email address.
Perfect.
Yes. Cool. So one thing that we could also do in this case, right, and that is actually something that I can also just quickly show. Now, this is going to be not the funnel that we have built out here, but let me just quickly search for the funnel in my workspace. This is what I call an adaptive quiz funnel, and I don't want to go too deep into conversion optimization and all of that. But one thing that we also see emerging more and more in our customer base is people building these types of quiz funnels for high ticket B2B offers. And so how that works is you're not leading as directly with that very aggressive offer of, hey, this is the result that I can get you when you book my service or when you come work with us. But we can also go a little bit broader, making people a little bit more interested in just your approach. And so we start really with a quiz, right? So the offer that we have here is get a personalized plan to generate up to 50 appointments per week. Okay, straightforward, already has a value proposition. We ask for a bunch of stuff again to get the data on personalization. Then we have a loading indicator, and that is actually also a quick conversion hack because it ups the perceived value in the mind of the customer. Again, maybe a little bit counterintuitive, right? Because you would again say like more friction leads to more people dropping off, but this is automatically then redirecting and you can see the settings here, automatically redirecting the user after 4 seconds. And then on the opt-in page, we say, please enter your information to receive a personalized action plan. And because we also just had that loading animation and all of that, we actually saw this converting way better because we basically frame it differently.
And I think for us, that could be especially because people are now used to this sort of loading even more in the world of AI, Because now they
Yeah.
think like there's an AI agent behind checking this, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
especially for our business, I think that makes a ton of sense.
100%. Fully agree. Fully agree. Yes, and then the cool thing here is that you see this is a little bit differently structured, but we only have the opt-in here. Now, if we go back to our original funnel, you see that on the opt-in page, we actually do have an appointment element. You can see that when we hover over it, it's an appointment element. And on left-hand side, we just add our scheduler. So we can use cal.com, Go High Level is very common as well, Calendly, all that good stuff, right? And then automatically there's a pop-up with the pre-fill, and so people can just book their call in a very frictionless way. Now, this adaptive quiz funnel works a little bit different because we then send people to, again, a result page, but on that result page, only then we have the appointment booking.
Gotcha.
This is going to be automatically pre-filled as well. But reason why that works is because you can reach a wider audience, right? So for you, Jan, we're looking to immediately get the CTOs and the CEOs that are already looking to solve their problem into your sales call to then purchase a $25,000 a year product or more. Now, this could be an amazing way if you want to go a little bit broader, if you want to scale it up, and if you really have, already closed the 3% of the market that are already super hot to buy.
Yeah.
So you can build different funnels for different audiences, and that goes back to the speedboat idea that we discussed first.
And for us, this would be like a quiz, like check your company's AI literacy level or something like this, like those sort of
100%.
quizzes, right? Yeah, perfect.
Exactly right.
And because that's something that we're actually seeing is companies we're talking to are in different stages of this transformation, and we're actually right now looking at how we can structure our offers in this exact way. And so I think this also, to get, for a founder, getting that level of market validation about where people are in these different stages is super valuable.
Totally. And we should talk a little bit more closely about this, Jan, because like my mind immediately, when you said check your AI literacy, immediately goes to, all right, what we want to do is we want to just have a quiz where basically we funnel all the people into, even if they're a little bit unqualified, because we have such a wide range of offers.
Yeah.
And then through the result pages, we just want to forward them to the different offers, exactly what you said in the beginning. So that is also definitely possible. And I think that could also crush for you guys.
Awesome. That's funnel number 2.
Yes, definitely. Cool, but now going back to our original build out, so to just wrap that up, so we have our personalization here, we have the mobile first layout, we have a design that we're happy with, we have a copy that we're happy with. So now the next step would of course be to set up our integrations. So we head over here, we have the option for make.com, also Zapier. There's more than 3,000 tools that you can integrate with Perspective. One thing that we'll do in a second here as well is set up the Meta integration. What that will do is it will allow Meta to read when somebody has converted on your funnel to go and send more people like that to your funnel. Exactly. So that is all the magic behind that, and we can look into what that looks like.
And that is something that is like table stakes, right? You would not run ads on any platform until this conversion setting tracking is set up.
100%. That is why ad platforms nowadays are so effective, is because they have this machine learning algorithm that is based on conversion events, and they have these masses of data. So that is really, really important.
Perfect.
Cool. Now, I would ask you, Jan, I think you're using Atio as your CRM. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we could now go ahead and set up the integration either through a webhook or a Make, depending on what you appreciate here.
So like it would be either way going into Make. So you can either send me a webhook to Make, or we can connect Perspective, but I guess that'd be connecting your account.
To make.com. So in this case, I haven't prepped anything additionally for that. Yeah. But we could also.
But I mean, like if you select Make, is it just creating a webhook anyway, or is it?
So for Make, you would have the API key here.
Perfect. And is that something you're fine with sharing? That's not giving us access to your whole Perspective account.
I'm honestly not entirely sure. Maybe we should just go with the webhook and start with that.
Yeah. Maybe we just like if you go over it again and say, hey, normally we use Make, but in our case, so that we just send you the data that you need, we use the webhook.
Yeah. Okay. And then I don't even have a Make account.
No, but should I then? Do you want me to share my screen and
if that's okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you be fine with
that? Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So now to integrate Atio, we could use Make, or we could also use Zapier, but I think for simplicity, we can also just use webhook. So when you click on that, you can see that there's 2 different triggers, right? So there's one funnel completed and one new lead. The only important thing that you need to know here is that the new lead is essentially triggered when you get contact data. And the funnel completed is when somebody reaches a result page. Reason why we separate that is because, you might want to have a longer journey after somebody submitted their contact data before you send them to a result page. Exactly.
Makes sense. But then either way, like let's say if someone gives us the data or like submits their data but then doesn't book an appointment, all of that data is still saved in perspective, right? So it's like
100%.
let's say if we do a quick one now for funnel completed, that we're not losing that information.
Correct. All of that is saved in perspective either way.
Perfect.
There's also, there's basically, even if people just proceed to question 3 without giving you any other data, you would still see that in the sessions and all the data that you collect there.
Perfect. So then Niels, I've got a make scenario. Before I share my screen, maybe I can just send you the webhook link and then you can show setting that up on that side.
There you go. All right. So we want to go funnel completed or funnel new lead in this case. Just go funnel completed. Boom, click on add. All right, there you go. Okay, now we have added it very simply. The only thing that you would need to do after setting up any integration within Perspective is just come to the publish page and republish your funnel. You'll always have an instant domain, which is super helpful for testing, but you of course can also connect all of your custom domains to have that be nicely branded.
Perfect. All right,
Exactly.
so should I share my screen now, or do you need to do a test run of the funnel?
We could do a test run of the funnel really quickly.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we haven't done yet is set up the Calendly, but I think we'll just run with the template.
Perfect.
But now if we want to test the funnel and just actually submit a test lead, what we would do is we just copy and paste that over, have our funnel be open in another tab, accept all the cookies, yes, actively using them, just quickly run through the questions here. All right, I'm a CTO and more than 30 grand and we're more than 100, beautiful. I would just quickly enter my data. Then we just want to run through this one. I'll just, of course, select Germany in this case. There you go. All right. Read the terms of use, of course. Then choose preferred time slot. You can see, okay, now we have actually activated that for the email address. So I would just quickly come in and do that for the email address. Let me see. There you go. We have our code right there. Boom, verify, automatically verifies. Beautiful. Cool. You also, of course, see that status. Now we have actually activated it for both of them. That is the maximum lead quality that you can get. You can, of course,
this is the German level of security, which I guess maybe we can just pick one probably.
Exactly. You can definitely pick one, the one that is more important to you. Exactly. So cool. So now we just enter that. It's 094333. There you go. Okay, successfully verified, we good. And now in this case, this is really the maximum friction that you could go, right? So now we have to choose our appointment. That unfortunately is a template in this case, so we can actually book something. Okay, so let's just quickly do that. You can see everything is pre-filled here again. That would be the same for any of the solutions that you use. And boom, booking was successful. So very simple thank you page in this case. There's also a very old video of mine, but there you go. That is basically the entire run through of the funnel.
That's mad.
So
and just on this, like, because most cases, every thank you page is just like thanks, that's it. And so what's the secret behind like, no, let's actually put some more content there, something else that they can just like get them hooked even more.
100%. So especially for call booking funnels, what you want to do is you want to have content that gets them excited for the call, right? Because I usually like to think of funnels in a sequence of conversions. So my first conversion is people click on the ad, land on the funnel. Beautiful. Second conversion is people convert on the funnel. Okay, and convert on the call. Cool. Next conversion is get people to show up to the call, right?
Absolutely.
And once they're in the call, we want to close them on the offer. And so I like to think of it like this. And so what we really want to optimize the thank you page for here is essentially get them excited for the call, right? So one more time, make sure that they have it in their calendars, make sure that they confirm. We also want to set up messages in a second to go and follow up with them and really confirm again that they're actually showing up to the call. We can also look into that. You can already see the messages tab on the top here. We can also set that up to automatically go out to all of the qualified leads.
Amazing.
Exactly. Cool. So now just to see what that looks like, we head over to contact. Beautiful. We have my name in here. You can see all of the data is also in here, and we could also use that and move it around, right? So there's different status templates. You can adjust all of that and just have it match your sales process if you want to have that. Now, we have set up the integration as well. And I think from here on, we can just quickly look into if that lead also has arrived for your webhook.
Yes. All right. Let me share my screen. All right. So what we saw here, we did actually see that webhook got successfully determined. And this is basically just an empty make scenario that I've got set up. And the very first time it receives data, it's just going to say, hey, I need to know what data I'm basically receiving. And now we have that. And now we can add over the other steps. So I guess, and Niels just guide me through it from going in the wrong direction, but from my automation, like let's say OCD, I always want to name this first. I'm going to call this new perspective lead to Attio. And what's really nice now in Make, let me see if this already works. No. Maybe while I'm doing this, Niels, you can basically fill that funnel out one more time. That would be great. And then we can have a new lead come in
100%.
to this one. Or maybe let's, if you just go and fill it out one more time and then we have it here.
Cool. Send. Should come through any second now.
Got it.
Okay.
Perfect. And we actually see in Make, we've already caught, so we had our webhook set up that was listening to the to whenever a new lead was booking the appointment. And you can see here, I guess this is all the data that we're getting from Perspective, the name of our funnel. If we take a look, I don't know, Niels, maybe where are the values?
If you click on exactly, you see all of the answers to the questions right there. Now you have a little bit of a couple fancy strings in there. You can also go ahead and rename those in Perspective just for your information, but that is of course now everything that you can work with.
Perfect. And we also get the information of the meeting being booked. Is that here somewhere?
The meeting being booked.
That would be getting from our calendar tool, or is because we have the converted at, completed at.
That is interesting. So that is likely actually data that we would need to pull from Calendly then.
Gotcha.
We just need to integrate that there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect. But what we would do is, anyway, I'd probably be very interested in first saving this information. So we got to have the name, obviously, the email, and the phone number. All right, and so to send this information to Attio, I'm just going to click here and select Attio. And in the first case, what I want to do is create or update a person. Could be that actually the person booking the call has already had some interaction with us before and they might already be in our system. So this is good so that we avoid duplicates. All right, so this one's loaded. Now here in Attio, first I need to do is how am I matching this person? And so in our case, it's going to be email addresses. And then I'm just going to get the name. Attio's got a very weird way of formatting the name here. So let me just go and grab here in the name. We actually have the full name. I'm just going to map that for now. Here we would probably use either AI or some functions to clean this up. So I'm just going to put in the name to the name. We're going to match the email. And whenever this runs then, so I'm going to put in here the email and we'll also grab the phone number. Perfect. And hit save. Perfect. And now you can see when you filled that form out again, we see that again, the data came in from Perspective. And Attio, you're now in our system, Niels. So we're going to, like, once we get that that 50-person sales team up and running, they're going to start hounding you. And I can directly, let's check this one out. I'm just going to open up the link here. And here we see in our case, obviously we've had some email conversations back and forth to set up this call. And we see that here. And so obviously it just updated the existing person. But that's how simple it is then to, I guess, save this data from those funnels to whatever tool you're using.
100%. Exactly. Super straightforward. Love that.
All right, I'll let you take over again. And what's next?
One of the bigger pieces for any appointment funnel is also how you get people to now show up for the call, right? So we touched a little bit on that you need to optimize the thank you pages. That is all good and straightforward. Now, what we also want to do is set up a bunch of messages. Within Perspective, you can choose two types of messages. It's either an email or WhatsApp message. We have other channels that are also on the radar, but for now, for example, the most straightforward one is, of course, the email, right? And so in this case, we just want to go ahead and have an appointment confirmation already. This is the template that you can see in here, which again, also goes a little bit more over the structure that you would want to have on the thank you page, right? So basically, hey, this is what you expect, preparation tips, like make sure that all that stuff is on your calendar, et cetera, et cetera. So we have that. Now, in this case, we want to make sure that it's not triggering to all of the new people coming into Perspective or all of the people that are opting in. Now, we have already disqualified them by sending them straight to the disqualified page. So that is all good. Now, if we wouldn't have done that, we could also make sure that we're discerning and segmenting people here, right? Gotcha. So I would just go ahead, add a rule. In this case, our question was how many people work for your company. There you go, is exactly... then we can choose the option more than 100, save. So this would only go out to the qualified people from here on. We want to start with the appointment booking confirmation, of course. We can also now go ahead and follow up with different content and nurture, right? So we'll just go ahead and add some messages here. This is a blank template now. You can get a little bit more crazy with this. You can add more sequences on different statuses if you were to use the Perspective CRM. Of course, we could also go back into Make and just connect any other autoresponder that you want to use in combination, right? So that is also totally possible. Or if you're using Calendly, you just use their reminders because you also have the data there. So different ways of going about this, but you can also send them directly from Perspective.
And I think here, this is another probably a really good call out to say using AI as your co-pilot. You can really have, while you're building this out, have Claude, have ChatGPT, whatever you use up and running, let them know the funnel that you're building, what the end goal is, who you're targeting. And like whenever you have a question come up like this, like should I send an email after they book a call? How many should I send, right? And then also just by having these conversations and like, I think a really nice term that I've heard is like the reflexive use of AI is just use it as much as everything, because sometimes when also you're getting an answer back, you're like, that's a crappy answer. I don't like that one, but it helps you find the way to the right answer.
Totally.
And it stops you just looking at this blank page.
Yeah, totally. And that is actually such a great addition, Jan, because whenever I'm writing a sequence, I just screenshot my funnel. I'm like, here's my funnel. Please write a 5-message nurture sequence.
Yeah.
And then I drop it into Perspective, drop it into an autoresponder, and I'm good to go. So that is really, really helpful, and I fully agree.
And are you guys working on your own little like AI funnel assistant, I guess? Is that something on the roadmap or?
Yeah, it's such an interesting question, man, because like the couple AI features that I've shared so far, and there's another one I want to touch on in a second. These are like our first AI features that we've shipped so far. Yeah. But now the entire roadmap is very AI heavy, and there's so many exciting things coming to the app. And we're also going to share a little bit more about that actually next week already. So awesome. No, exciting times ahead.
Just more reasons why we need to do this again in a year's time.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah. I would love that.
Nice.
Definitely. Cool. All right. So now let's just assume we have a funnel set up, integration is set up. We've run through that, right? So we've adjusted the funnel copy as well. We have the interactivity going, the qualification going. We have our email set up right here. We have our ads going. So now the only question is, how do we launch this thing, right? And so that is what we would get into now. Maybe you've seen this one before. This is the classic setup of an ads manager. Now, this is daunting to many, and I really want to make sure that in the next couple of minutes that I'll run you through this entire process, this is the most straightforward and easy way you can set up your campaign. And I'm just going to highlight the most important steps.
Perfect.
We have this blank ad account here. We just head over to create. You can see there's different campaign objectives that you can choose. This is already a make or break decision for many people because, as I said in the beginning, Meta is really, really good at giving you what you're asking for. So let's just assume I would choose traffic here. Meta would give me lots of traffic to the funnel. So many people that are excited about clicking on the ad, but are actually, so none of them will convert. You will see a 0% conversion rate on that funnel. So definitely make sure to choose leads here, hit continue, and then the campaign setup starts already. You can also use many of the helpers from Meta because they have many ways of showing you what to do. I would personally say don't always trust it because Meta is still incentivized to make you spend money on them, right? So they're trying to make it as frictionless as possible, but it's not always the right thing to do. So for now, we want to start out by doing ad set budget optimization. What does that mean? It essentially just means that we set our budget on the ad set level instead of the campaign level. What is an ad set? What is a campaign? Just to break it down very simply, you can see on the left-hand side, there's this little overview. So we have a campaign here, we have an ad set here, and we have an ad here, right? The campaign is basically just a function of structuring all of your different ad sets. And the ad set is always what holds the targeting as well as what holds the ad.
Gotcha.
Now, we want to go very simple with this one. We also want to uncheck this one because it's a sneaky way for Meta to basically still run a campaign budget optimization campaign without you wanting to run one, okay? So just a little important note here. Now, for the other settings, if you have a special ad category like your advertising jobs or anything like that, or financial services, then you should definitely make sure to check that here. But in this case, that is not applying to us. Then we move over to the ad set level. Now, in here, we just choose our website because we want to link our funnel, of course, in a second. Now, there is the pixel as well. We can choose a conversion objective in this case, right? So this is basically what Meta will use to optimize our funnel. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we have time to run through the entire pixel setup as well, but it's really as simple as going over to the events manager. You can find that on the left-hand side in the ads manager, click create new data source, and then you'll find all your details there.
And just in like layman's terms, basically a pixel, something you put on the website so that Meta can see when someone lands on it. And then also the conversion events is when someone, maybe you could even go as granular as like the different steps of the funnel. But the simplest way is when they land on the page, and then when they convert by booking an appointment, I guess.
That is exactly right. Yeah. And just to show you how that is set up with Perspective and how you make sure that the funnel communicates with Meta is going back to our apps overview here. We would just click on Meta, click on Connect, and then you see it's asking for the pixel ID.
Gotcha.
Now, whenever you have created your data source, there's many tutorials on that on YouTube as well. You will find your pixel ID. Really what you want to do here is then also set up your access token. This is basically working like any API token, and you can just copy and paste it out of the settings of your data set. As I said, there's many different tutorials on how to set up a pixel or a data set within Meta. Then all we want to do, hit save, of course have the data in there, publish again, and we should be good to go. Exactly. Now, moving back into Meta, we want to have that, of course, set up. In this case, also very important note, we want to use the lead conversion event. Again, make sure to tell Meta exactly what to optimize for, because you will get exactly that from them. Okay?
And that's nothing you need to set up in Perspective. As soon as you put pixel ID, access token in Perspective, it's already like a lead is a lead, or is there something else we need to do here?
There's something else that we need to do, but first that really depends also on what you want to optimize for. In this case, we do optimize for the lead, right? And since there was, if you just notice, there's this conversions API check mark on the right-hand side. So that's really what we want to look out for, because that basically then means that yes, Perspective is integrated correctly and overall it is receiving all of the data.
Perfect.
And then we want to come back into Perspective right here, go back into our integration one more time. And then you can see down there that there's a mapping function to map different events from your funnel to the specific lead event. So that is basically you just telling Perspective, when anybody enters the thank you page, right, that is considered a lead. We want to send all of that data back to Meta and make sure that you're optimizing more for that, or the Meta is optimizing more for that. So we'd save that.
So you could then here decide is it just at the point where we capture the information, or is it all the way where they like book the calendar appointment?
Correct.
And your recommendation is always the end result, right? Calendar appointments is what we should be optimizing for, or is there ever a world where we do the step before where they just give us the information?
I would say actually in the beginning, always optimize for leads or optimize for exactly when. So the lead optimization event is super effective on Meta in general because it's a standardized event. There's lots and lots of data that they have on that. So I would start by optimizing for when somebody hits the end of your funnel. So that is the most qualified version of what you will have. You can go and tweak this a little bit. You can also try and see what happens if you fire that on the opt-in already, right? So Meta gets a little bit more data. But honestly, for the beginning, to just get started, I would just say thank you page is always a good way to start. Map the lead event, and then you're good to go.
Perfect. And on this one, I remember back from my marketing days, like it's going back a while now, but there used to be this concept of like a minimal amount of conversions that need to happen on a day. Here we're obviously doing a big ticket funnel. It's probably, I would love it, but we're probably not going to get 20 CEOs filling this out tomorrow. Have times changed a little bit, or what's the situation?
Technically, Meta still recommends that you get 7, so over the last 7 days, 50 conversions. That is still the recommendation. That is still when it exits the learning phase. But that being said, we have ourselves many ad sets and campaigns that don't reach that threshold, but are still performing super well for us. So it's definitely something that you can look into if you're planning to spend a couple of $100,000s on ads. Then it definitely makes sense to optimize for these things as well. But honestly, to begin with, just don't care about it. Really just go and launch the ads.
Perfect.
Yes. Exactly. Now for the other settings, we can keep everything as is. Now, if we go down to here, you can see there's the daily budget that we want to start with. A question that I usually get is, ads are so daunting. Do I have to spend thousands on that? No, you can just put a 5 here and just run it for 7 days, see what comes back. Like really whatever you're comfortable with investing into acquisition, that is totally fine.
And is there some sort of like, let's say 50K ticket? Is there do you guys have some like backwards maths from that in terms of what should the initial investment be?
100%. So honestly, for the initial investment, I would always recommend just start with what you're comfortable on spending on ads to test a new channel. And even if you have the biggest tickets, you don't need to, if let's say we're selling, for 25 grand a year, yes, you will likely spend more to acquire a customer, of course. But for just at first, especially when you're launching that first funnel, just see what comes back with a set amount that you're comfortable with. Once you have that first data, let's say we know, okay, we're actually paying, $100 per booked call. Now 50% show up to our sales call. So that's $200 per sales call that we're paying essentially. But we convert 50% of the sales calls again, that's $400 per customer. And then okay, that is then you can reverse engineer with the conversion rates how much you can actually pay per customer essentially.
Makes sense.
Or per lead.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Cool. So then we want to come into the audience settings. You can play around with this a bunch. Now, generally speaking, Meta is so good at actually optimizing for the people that you want to reach, especially if you put it on the ad creative and in the copy, that you don't need to do much here. We run on a lot of broad campaigns, but still get exactly qualified people through the door. Now, you can, of course, go a little bit more crazy, right? If you want to go... If you want to go very narrow and define it very closely, Meta changed this recently. You need to click on further limit the reach of your ads. So they already use this negative language to get you to not do that and let their AI optimize. So we say switch setup and pass the dark patterns here. And then you can see there's a bunch of extra things that we can set, right? So detailed targeting, you can search for different interests, right? So I'm not sure, maybe AI is an interest. Let me see, is that actually in here? Doesn't seem to be, or maybe artificial intelligence. There you go, computing, right? So we could start testing that. So that will already be an audience that we could start to run with. You can of course tweak this to be a little bit more specific. Again, you could also target only business page owners, which again helps with the B2B component. But honestly, it isn't really that important anymore for Meta. It really isn't. It's really just important to communicate specifically who you want to reach.
And is that also the case if, like, let's say we're setting this up from scratch and we haven't had a meta pixel on our website for the last year, so it really has almost like no data? Or is Meta also now probably doing some research? What is the website? What are GoNineX.com doing? Who are they likely to like want to interact with? Totally. Can we trust it here, even if they like maybe not know us so much?
Definitely, because like I've seen it many times where completely fresh ad accounts also have been running on broad immediately and they're getting amazing results, especially, and that is why the optimization event is so important, because once you have the first couple of leads coming through, and as you know, we just optimized only for the ones that are actually opting in, so only the qualified ones, Meta will, like the longer the campaign runs, also optimize more specifically.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Nice. Oh, like just a question here, it probably doesn't come up so much, but has Perspective done something like, let's say someone comes in, for whatever reason, they want to book a call with us. Maybe they want to partner up with us and they don't actually want to take our training services. They say less than 100 people, they land on this, this isn't a fit right now page, basically a disqualification page. Does Perspective prevent them from like just filling in the form again and changing their answers? Is that something that you see happening or not so much?
It does happen, and technically speaking, you're still able to achieve that. But especially the simpler your logic, the easier it is to bypass, right? The way to do that, though, is if you have a very, very specific ICP, it will take them a lot of time to just figure out how to actually bypass that. So if you use the advanced logic and you really go specific, that usually doesn't happen. But generally speaking, it is still possible if they open a new session, also in an incognito browser, right? You would be able to bypass that.
Gotcha. And I guess from like what your like messaging train of thought is at the moment is like, this is not something you do from the start, right? This is something where you see a lot of bad actors, then you go and correct the behavior, not let's make this super complicated from the start.
Yes. I would like the first order of business always when testing out ads for yourself is launch the first thing that you're comfortable with or that you're confident in, and just see what comes back, right? This is really a lot of a game of data and testing things. So, use your hypothesis to build the funnel, build the ads, and go and launch them.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes, then from here on, we could also, of course, set the language. There's beneficiary and payer, all that good stuff for the placements. Just one thing that I can emphasize here, click on edit placement controls. Let me see what is that. This is also new. Let me see what happens here. My business can only advertise on specific placements. Okay, let me see. Show more settings.
I think there's some more dark language going on there.
It's crazy, man. Like Meta is really, really doing a lot to just get you to not do anything. They're really moving towards this idea of upload your image, or not even do that. There's also a image generation already in here, but just give us the link and we do everything for you. Like that is really what they're pushing for. And I think even Zuckerberg said exactly that on a recent keynote. So it's going to be more AI driven going forward. And
what you're trying to avoid here, because Meta, they have a lot of different like partner platforms and all this that like typically the quality isn't as good. So there's a way to make sure like, hey, this is only being shown on Facebook and Instagram. Is that what you're sort of trying to achieve?
That is correct. Especially for a higher ticket B2B, I would just go and use the most high quality inventory. So in this case, for example, would unselect the audience network. And you can see there's a bunch of stuff happening here. So again, same thing, uncheck mark this. This is Meta again telling you that hey, allow us to please still spend on the things that we want to spend on, right? So it's crazy how much they're doing that. And then you can also go ahead and adjust the placements, right? So there's different placements that you can run on. This is also something that you can test. For now, you can just go with all the placements as long as you unselect the audience network, which is definitely the lowest quality type of inventory.
Gotcha.
Exactly. Now, from there on, only thing that is left to do is set up the ads, right? So we can give this a name up here. Then we can choose the Facebook page to run from. There's one of our partner accounts in here as well. It should load. You can see there's already my face being pulled in just from the URL. But what we would want to start with is just head over to our funnel again, get to the publish page, grab the link, right? Get back to Meta, and we just want to paste the link in here. So you can see here, website link, boom, we have that in there. All good, okay. You can see it already pulls in some metadata to help you just do that. Now we do have still some templatized language in here, but we can of course go ahead and adjust that. Exactly. Multi-advertiser ads, you can leave that on, leave that off. It's not really that big of a deal. Now, the most important piece, of course, to set up the ad creative, right? So we go ahead, we choose the image ad. Now we go back into Canva, grab our very, very nicely done ad creative. Just quickly see to download that.
And Niels, I see here that these are all in like the square format on top of the like different text variations. I remember we used to do like, you have to do this 9 by 16, 16 by 9, 4 by 3, yes. 4 by 5. Is that still something that's that's important?
What we actually do is we do only 9 to 16 and make sure that everything is also readable on a one-to-one format.
Gotcha.
Honestly, also again, like that is something that you can add to the process later.
Yeah.
This is like if you choose in Canva, give me a Facebook ad format, it gives you the one-to-one, which is also totally fine to start with. You will still get the placements on stories. You will still see what performs, and you can add all of that later. Now, this is really if you just want to get the ad going and see what messaging works. Like you can start with one-to-one, start with only 9 to 16. Both definitely is fine.
Perfect. I'm definitely going to be stalking Perspective on the Meta ad library to get some inspiration.
Please do. Please do. That is always usually what I recommend. So that makes a lot of sense. Cool. All right, so now we have downloaded everything. We head back to our Meta Ads account. Now you can see there's many, many different settings that you can also set here. So this is already Meta, AI analyzing your funnel, AI analyzing your copy and your creative, right? You can see it uses the metadata to already give you suggestions of different things that you can talk about, add to your copy. Now, we don't want to do that actually. There is some, I have seen some instances where Meta actually helps with an amazing ad creative on the basis of an existing well-done ad creative. But to be fair, it is oftentimes still not really great, especially not in terms of design. So use it if you like to and use it if it's helpful. But from my point of view, we should still start with creating the copy with AI, but making the designs actually fit the business.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like really, it seems like this is not the point where I would want to do that iteration, right? I think you want to have that session with Claude or with ChatGPT or Gemini where you're like coming up with the ad copy, going back and forth. I can't see it being at like the last step in Meta where you're sort of doing this, like we're still using AI, right? It's just that we've done it already and we're not using metas. And like you said, maybe in the future they just nail it and that's what we get down to. But I think I like your workflow a little bit better.
Yeah, makes sense, man. Agreed. Sweet. And then what you want to do here is just click on upload. Then of course select the ads. Now we have 5 in here. Just click open, select all 5, and then you can see that this should bulk upload all of them. There you go. Nice. Let's just work show you first 3. Where's all of our 5? Let's just start with the first ad. We either way want to set up one of the ad instances at first. So we click next. And you can see here, you can already see what that plays out, right? So you can later go ahead and upload different formats for different placements as well, or crop them. So if you have the 9 to 16, you could crop that into a one-to-one as well.
Super.
Exactly. Now, text, important piece, of course. What we want to do here is likely just go back into Claude, right? And then take one of our ads. Now, this was ad 1, I think, that I uploaded. So I'll just upload that here and just ask Claude also to spin up a introductory text for Meta. Now, that will process in the background, and that is just what we want to place there. There's a couple of other settings that you need to take care of. So there's the headline, which is basically like this little extra text that is below the ad. You also see a preview there in a second. And the call to action. This is pre-selected for Meta. You can only use one of the ones that they're giving you here. Now, in this case, what would match most, right? Could be contact us, learn more is a general one that we also use all the time. So you could also just stick with learn more. But this is really about you then, first of all, finding a good copy for your ad creative to go with. So we have your text team is split in two, half automating their work with AI, the other half still doing everything manually. Okay, cool. Just run with that. Of course, you can tweak it, right? Go back and forth with Claude here. Similar processes we had before. So we come back to Meta, add it here, maybe adjust the spacing a little bit and how that breaks. Give it a little bit more space just to be a little bit more readable. And then we should be good to go. All right. Now, the important part here is, as I mentioned before, there's this concept of add variable isolation. So if we test the different creatives, I wouldn't go ahead and now test 5 different copies because, that is 5 times 5 variations. So we have 25 variations right there. You rather just want to go with one variation to really see what works. Here again, there's Meta's AI coming into play, right? So they're asking you to create more versions of that and be able to show that. Now I would just deselect that because unfortunately it's not really transparent. And if you run with these items, you don't really know what will actually help you perform, right? What is quite helpful is that you already have these headlines here being generated, right? So we could just unlock AI automation in 90 days. Sounds good to me. Maybe we'll dial it down to 28 as we discussed. Hit next. And then you can see there's Meta with their design ad bets for the ad creatives. Now, if any one of these, speaks to you, feel free to add them to your ad creative to test. But I would really say to ideally click skip and continue.
It really, that just seems to really speak to like the Mittelstand. I don't know what that thought. Like in Germany, there's this specific thing of these like a bit more like traditional companies. So like for some agencies targeting those, they'd probably 100%. Totally work, right?
Yeah, totally right. Totally right. And exactly, they just of course want to go up market, down market, right? They just want to make sure that everybody's able to use this at some point, so their direction makes sense. But to be honest, like for anybody that has that wants to have more control over the ads, it's really they're making the process a little bit more annoying, but it's still very, very effective, and it's getting more effective over time, of course.
And just maybe to touch back on the copy that you put there. So you obviously said there's no need to make 5 variations on the same image, but I think very important is like, you should always use Claude for each specific image headline, write the appropriate text to match, right? It's not then using the one text for all 5 images. That's also this message matching, I guess, that's like super important.
That is correct. Yeah, you just want to make sure that the headline generally speaks to all the 5 images, or it's maybe is a little bit more generic, or like the copy that you're using here.
Yeah.
But should still match it, and something that you can then use for all of the different ad creatives.
Gotcha.
Now, to be fair, we run 250 grand of ads every single month. And we have maybe 2 to 3 main introductory texts that we use alongside very, very different ads. And they're written in a way where they could roughly match those. But the most important congruency is between ad creative and the funnel.
Makes sense.
Yes, so that is everything that we would need to do here, of course. Now you can see there's a bunch of other settings. You can go ahead and change that. Now, the only thing that we could still add is UTM parameters. That is quite helpful, of course, if you want to see a little bit more closely also in the CRM within perspective or within ATIO, like what creative specifically made them book a call, right? So you can have that. Now, all we want to do in here is just click duplicate or quick duplicate.
And Niels, is this where we would also adjust in the UTM parameters where we'd make the headline dynamic in the funnel?
Correct.
That's coming?
That is correct. That is coming. Yes,
nice.
That is very correct. Exactly. Now, at first, we want to create all of the different ads, right? So you would just repeat that same process. So we have 2 instances for now. We need 3 more. You can see there's something missing. Why is that? Okay. Beneficiary, so we just say it's our company for now. Prospective software as well. So then you click duplicate. Now you have the 5 different instances of your ad creative. Now we would run through that entire process again. You can see all of that is taken over. We would run through the process of replacing the image here. You could just delete that out, add the other ones in. I think that is quite straightforward. Exactly. Now, going back to what you just mentioned, right? So we have this headline here of transform your team into AI-powered automation experts, or we train them for free. That is actually the one that we already have on the funnel, if I'm right. Let me double check that.
I think that
is the one.
Yeah.
Yes, that is right. So then let's just quickly set up one of the second ads. So I would just delete that out here. Boom, add media, add image, go to media directly. We can just choose the second one. Next, run through the entire process again, right? I'm just going to skip this a little bit faster here. Done. All right. So half your team uses AI daily. The other half barely touches it. Fix this gap in 28 days. Cool. What we can do now is on the URL parameters, you could also go ahead and change that in the exact link of the ad. That is also totally fine. But there's this headline, PS headline variable that we just created before, right? And you can see here that is the transform your team into AI-powered automation experts, yada, yada, yada. And you would just go ahead and switch that out with the new copy that you just have on this ad creative here. Only important thing is you of course need to keep the variables for the spacing, so that is all taken over into the funnel, but that is really how you can personalize the funnel experience at scale and make sure that it's super, super congruent, as I shared in the beginning.
And for anyone who wants to use these like percentage 20 things, what you're looking there is called URL encoding. Either ask Claude or ChatGPT saying, hey, here's my text, URL encoded, or there's a bunch, just Google URL encoding and you'll find how to get those symbols.
Exactly right. You can also just copy and paste all of the different headlines, make them be generated, or generate, Claude generates all of them, or all of the URL parameters, and you're good to go.
Nice.
Exactly.
Saving time. We love it.
Saving time. We love it. Exactly. And so then if all looks good and you've double checked the previews, all looks good on for you here, and this is super interesting what is happening here. Okay, there you go. That is now updated. This is also previews from Facebook. But generally speaking, you could then go ahead. That is very interesting. I haven't seen that now. Seems to be also a little bit funny, but you can double check here if your ad looks good on all different placements, you're good to go. And then really the only thing that you would need to do is hit publish, right? And once you've hit publish, now it will take a little bit of time for Facebook to actually launch the campaign. They will just double check for compliance and all that good stuff so that you're not doing anything forbidden essentially, right? And then over the course of the next couple of days, you will see data coming into your funnel, right? And we can double check that in detail with our metrics overview. So you'll see all of the different performance metrics for your funnel. Now we have an insane conversion rate of 40%. That is likely not what you see after actually launching, right? You'll also see the mobile device split be way higher than what we have right now, since we've been building this out on desktop. And you'll see all the analytics for the different questions. You can also adjust the dashboard for yourself here, and then you're good to go. And the only question or the only thing that you need to then look into is, okay, where am I losing people?
Yeah.
Right? Am I losing people on the first page through the page-to-page conversion rate? Am I losing them somewhere in the questions? Am I losing them only on the opt-in? There's different hypotheses that you can build on the basis of the data that you collect. Then you optimize from there and really just try to get that funnel to convert for you on a low spend before scaling anything up.
Makes a ton of sense. And
Exactly.
here, like, let's say, because we've got several organic channels that we have, like especially like my co-founder Alex is very active on LinkedIn. We've got to growing our YouTube channel and getting some traffic from there. Would you say like it's better to have separate funnels for different channels, because I guess you're like nailing the message as well, and then it's a bit easier to just see like the meta numbers here? Or actually, if you've got a funnel that's working, and then you can send traffic from many different places to it?
The latter is totally fine. It just really depends on how granular you want to go or how much a campaign is channel specific.
Yeah.
Now, I would especially recommend, if you're looking to build paid ads as a channel for you, to start by only running paid traffic to that funnel, because you want to see that in it on its own, right?
Yeah.
To just also optimize that and not have it be skewed by different data or more qualified traffic coming to your funnel if they already have been watching your YouTube videos, right? So that is really what I would recommend if you want to build that channel for yourself.
Because what you're really doing here when you say like building, what we're doing is experimenting, right? And it's like,
Correct.
like you said, until we've really understood the messaging, the conversion rates of the different funnels, that's going to take some time till we're comfortable with it.
Yes, 100%. And now we have built out one core funnel, and we will test a little bit in terms of optimizing it, right? See what data comes back, tweak it from there. Now, I just want to quickly touch on one thing that we have touched on before, because there was this other funnel that I was super keen to potentially run as a second funnel for you, because as I said, right, it's you can not only test the ads or test the individual pieces of the funnel, you can also test different funnels, right, and see what really works best for you. I would usually recommend start with one, only start with one, and then first get that going before moving on to another funnel. But of course, you can also test different approaches if you see, hey, we don't want to go for the call directly, or want to sell a different product, especially if you have a wide range like you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the adaptive quiz funnel that we first talked about. Now there's another a cool AI feature that we have implemented, which is when you click duplicate, there's also this AI duplicate. So what we can do here is we can just again choose the brand profile that we have before created for you, right? So it has all the information from your website, all the information already from your ICP. And so then we can prompt this to adjust this in a way we want to adjust the copy. So for example, what was the idea? A quiz on AI literacy,
Exactly,
right?
AI literacy, like where your company stands with AI literacy, or how AI literate is your team.
Yes, asking users where the company stands on AI literacy. There you go. Okay. let's see what it comes back with. We hit duplicate. Now that will again take a little bit of time because it's going to adjust the entire funnel copy.
And on this company profile, Niels, is it something that, are you finding yourselves then going back in as your offer changes, as maybe some of your brand position changes, you're sort of going back in and updating that company profile, or is it best to just to like let that initial like scrape happen again?
I would say let that scrape happen again because it's also very much based on the specific ICP that you're targeting.
Gotcha.
So what we basically do if we go after different audiences, we use the same website, of course, as the base.
Yeah.
But we just enter a different ICP profile.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. So now there we go. We have the AI duplicated version of the personalized quiz. Now you can already see what the AI did here. So headline is discover your company's AI readiness score and get a personalized AI implementation roadmap. Cool thing to start with.
That wording is so much better than AI literacy, right? It's like, it's very good.
Definitely easier to understand. Yeah. I think we could spice it up a little, but it's definitely a fair starting point. And we also have the 5,000 business professionals we've trained. So it all has all of your copy, right? And now what we would want to do now, this is a custom template. Now we haven't done any custom prompting for this in the background. So it wouldn't change the pages now much from the current features that we have built out in perspective. But really what we want to do now is essentially use the same things that we've just learned building out the other funnel, which is the interactivity, right? And all the different questions to then go ahead and personalize the experience. And at the end, also give them the exactly right offer, right? So in your case, we have the AI first, which would be one of the bigger offers. Yeah. What would be another offer, Jan, from your side?
So I would say we could probably identify like the the three on the website that we have. We just have like AI literacy, AI squad, and then AI first.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we start. So then AI squad would be another one.
Yeah.
There you go. And AI literacy.
And maybe there's one more that we could do is like if it's an individual person or an individual contributor, we could just call it then the AI builder, which is just like the course that anyone can just buy for themselves, not like this company transformation. Yeah,
beautiful. Makes sense. Now, one thing that happened through the AI that unfortunately killed our personalization and variables in here, but we could of course just place them again. What we want to do now and why this funnel works so well. And by the way, this got to my attention when one of our agency customers actually used this to book more than 60 qualified appointments within 7 days, and it was actually responsible for doubling his ad agency from 50 to 100 grand a month in less than a month. Wow. So like super significant for him. And when I saw this and I searched for a couple more variations of this, I actually found many agencies are using this. So seems to be for B2B offers definitely an up and coming trend. So we can see here, okay, here's your personalized AI literacy development plan. Now what we would want to do is also likely just have a VSL setup that runs them through the offer, right? And you can also go quite simple with this. Like you can have Claude write out a VSL script with just different hooks and different call to actions based on the different offers. Get all of that done in 30 minutes, have an editor just, put that together correctly with the modular script and then put them in here and you should be good to go. Now we want to use the variables, of course, from the things that they set here again to make it more relevant, speak to their pain points more closely, speak to their stage in the journey a little bit more closely, call them to action to book a call, and we should be good to go. So that is really the second funnel that we can then test for you.
That's mad. And in your case, like your VSLs, are you using AI a lot in that process on scripting, or it's like this is your craft and you actually prefer to just sit down, pen and paper and write them out yourself?
Lots of AI, to be honest. I always get the first step back from AI. Especially with that AI script writer project that we have in Claude, as I mentioned in the beginning, that was such a game changer. Before then, I always hated the output that I got, and it was so much work to just prompt it to be something usable for me. Since we have that project, I always get the first step back, then tweak it a little, and we are good to go. Next week, we're launching a bigger campaign for perspective, and it's like a 12-minute VSL. And it was actually entirely written by AI based on lots of bullet points that I gave it for context. But I then just went ahead and tweaked some of the wordings, but the entire campaign is basically built, or the entire VSL is basically built by AI.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think we've seen a lot. And typically, like when your company's setting this up, you've already got some intellectual property, right? In our case, we've already got a lot of education materials around how companies should be doing this transformation. We have slides. And like what you said before about uploading images, we're uploading slides and then it's giving that AI the context. So it's not just like coming up with it from scratch. It's like your IP, your intellectual property, but where it can help you is like right now you're just giving away what you think is the best recommendation, but then how can you turn that into like a sales forward motion, right?
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
Super.
Agreed. Awesome. So then we would be, we have one funnel launched so far. We have the appointment funnel launched. We have a second test almost ready. Now, of course, there's ads missing, but we're in a good spot already to tweak and then launch this. And so now I think we just would need to finalize your funnel together, maybe set up nicely designed ads, not the stuff that I spun up in a minute, and then see what comes back, and hopefully can scale.
That's amazing. But just honestly, like how quick this all came together. As I said, this is something that we've sort of been sitting on for a while. And I think, it's just you guys have made it incredibly easy to get to that first version. And also I think that's the one takeaway, right? Is like get something up and running. It's going to be better than not. And that's where AI can probably help you more than ever, is like that, not looking at the empty page and how do you get something up and running as fast as possible.
100%, exactly. And as I mentioned sometimes throughout the video as well, it's like two things that we really focus on. It's speed, right? Speed to launch and performance, because that is really only what matters for you in performance marketing. You want to test things quickly to really learn fast what works. And then of course you want them to work. You want conversions to come back. You want money to come back if you spend money on ads. So these are really the focus points. And that is also why we've built perspective into what it is today.
Amazing. And so for anyone who is just like, okay, I want to try this out right now, what's the best way? We're going to leave a link in the description below. Any other advice? I guess we covered everything today, right? It's like you have everything.
That is definitely the process from front to back, exactly. The link in the description is definitely the place to start. There's also lots of more educational content, video material, masterminds, weekly live trainings that we run to help you get your first funnel up and running. So there's definitely lots of more places to learn. But since you now have basically all the important steps seen and you can implement them right away, you should be good to launch your first funnel. Exactly.
Perfect. Amazing. Niels, thank you so much. This has been awesome. And we'll report back on that and how it's tracking.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, sir.
Awesome.
Goodbye.
Cheers. Now you just saw us build that sales funnel using Perspective, and once again there'll be a link in the description to go try it for yourself for free. But speaking of tools, recently I made this video that you're seeing on the screen where I went over the best AI tools that I've used after testing over 300 of them. So if you want to skip the absolute grind that is testing dozens of tools, I'll see you over there.